Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. It's been a while. Welcome to the third video of my Caregiving Under Hardship channel. I apologize profusely because I probably should have made a video about a month ago. Um, I went through a very bad period in January around the time of my birthday, which is the 14th. I went into all of the advice I give other people, I failed to follow myself. And what was going on was Karen's health was degenerating further as every day went on. She was showing symptoms of extreme fatigue and weakness to the point where I literally had to hold her by the hand every single step to the bathroom. And her ADLs, her activities of daily living, I had to not just assist her with them. I had to completely do all of them because I don't, like I said, I don't like making her feel like an invalid. And nobody, if most of your, if you have a person you're taking care of, you'll find that everybody's different, but most people don't want to feel like an invalid. So if they can do something on their own, it's important that you let them, as long as it doesn't hurt them. But my wife's condition was getting worse, and I was scared. And I am diagnosed with depression and anxiety. I inherited it from my mom, who I also took care of every day until she passed away at 52 in 1997 of breast cancer. Um, I spent the majority of my childhood trying to keep her calm, and as a result, I became a nervous wreck. I try to keep it in check for the most part, I do, but yes, sometimes it's difficult. And I also have a tendency to isolate when things are going excessively bad because I'm afraid of judgment. And I just fear. Fear is the worst thing that any of us as caregivers can have, especially as caregivers. But fear, just as people, fear is one of the worst things that we have to conquer on a daily basis. Because when you are consumed by it, you can't get anything accomplished. I mean, at least for me, I'm speaking for myself. And I'm talking about some rational fears and irrational fears. But I don't want it to stop. My fear is the antithesis of hope, it's in the antithesis of faith. Hope and faith fight fear. And it took me a good couple of weeks to relearn that. You know what? As I was growing up in my 20s, I always poo pooed all the cliches about living life one day at a time and don't look too far ahead, stay in the moment, stay in the day. We all dismiss that, I think, to some extent, those cliches, but they're all true. And especially as a caregiver, it's very difficult to stay in the moment and stay in the day, especially if you're caregiving for someone in your family or your partner, your spouse. I started to lose hope. I'm not going to lie. It's been a long journey, and waiting for housing has not helped anything. I'd like to say, I don't want to jinx it, but hopefully I'll have good news on that front the next day or two. But like I was saying, Karen's condition was getting worse to the fact of whenever she would make any kind of physical activity, just turn it over in bed, her pulse ox would drop significantly from 100 to in the 70s. Very dangerous. I did not realize how many functions stop when someone's pulse ox is in their 70s. This is something I had to learn on my own, even though I've asked these questions to multiple medical professionals. And the frustration on that level, I still haven't gotten the over-the-counter catastrophic illness benefit back. Fighting that, I haven't even been able to register the complaint yet. That's how much I'm being stonewalled. But anyway, back to what Karen was going through. She's going through that. She was sleeping 19 hours a day. Every time she was coming home from dialysis, as soon as she would get home, she would start to dry heave. There was nothing in her system to vomit, but if there was like a little water in the system, she would throw that up. And it was getting very concerning. So let's fast forward to, the whole month of January. Basically, I found myself not being able to express myself. I wanted to hide when I'm not taking care of Karen. While she's sleeping, I'm hiding under the blanket, not doing anything for myself, just doing everything, for her, and then just collapsing and not wanting to deal with life or the world. And that's wrong. And I have no problem admitting my shortcomings. I have a lot of them. But the one thing I do make sure is that my wife is taken care of to the best quality. And I always make sure she's feeling the best that she can. As every day, day in and day out, every minute, every second. Because I want her to have the best quality of life for whatever amount of time she has left. So as time went on, these symptoms got worse. She was also having to go back to wearing diapers because her gastroparesis started acting up. Usually a dialysis would constipate her, but the exact opposite was happening due to the lack of oxygen. And she was not able to control her bathroom coming out. And that was scary. So it was the throwing up, the fatigue, the pulse ox dropping, and the digestion. And I really was so scared that she was dying that the other day, last Thursday, I talked to the tech and we both agreed finally that she had to go to the hospital in an ambulance. And so that's what happened. So she gets to the hospital. And again, being a caregiver, you constantly have to chase around these doctors and these nurses and medical professionals for answers because you never get them. You never seem to get the answers that you're looking for. You get general statements that don't apply to the specific things that you're asking about. It's very frustrating. So after telling them in vivid detail all of her symptoms about her dialysis and whatnot, they assumed that she had some kind of lung problem. Now, keep in mind, last year, she was supposedly diagnosed with interstitial lung disease with nodules, lower lobe reticulation in the lung, and ground glass opacities. Imagine my surprise when they did a CAT scan of her lungs with contrast, and there is now no evidence whatsoever of interstitial lung disease, even though I had the paper in my hand saying it, so I didn't look like a fool or an idiot that I was lying. Nobody knows. They said, well, most likely, and it was their company that misdiagnosed it. It might have been an infection, it might have been scarring, but it's gone. I mean, that's a good thing, yes, but as long as her pulse ox is dropping, it still mimics a person that has emphysema or COPD. She cannot breathe. So over the course of a few days, we found that constant oxygen was bringing her back little by little. Not completely healthy, but enough to where she was awake. She didn't want to sleep as much. So they decided that they would not discharge her unless we had a bunch of oxygen machines. So I present to you the oxygen machine right here. That's the one she's going to use at home that she uses here at the hotel. She right now also has a portable one for when she does go to dialysis. And I also have 2 tanks in case there's a blackout here. So right now Karen's at dialysis. We might be finding out about an apartment within the next 48 hours. I want to tell you that I still intend to follow up on everything I said in the first couple of videos. I want us all to be able to comment and have a safe space to share our frustrations with each other. And I want to thank you for all your wonderful comments under the last video. I am touched, I'm honored, and I hope I can help in some way. At least forget about your problems for a minute and know you can always vent to me no matter what, even if it's in words. Obviously, I don't have the ability to go live yet, and I'm not going to be able to do that until we have a place to live. I appreciate everybody from the Quora Digest article. Now that she does not have the lung disease, I still don't know if they're going to consider her a good candidate for a transplant once we get into a home, because her condition is deteriorating, unfortunately. But we have 2 doctor's appointments coming up. Oh, that's right. Her ears are also completely compacted with wax. Tomorrow morning, we're going to an ENT to have them evacuated. Unfortunately, out of the many things she has, she also happens to have abnormally shaped ear canals. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. But that, unfortunately, she also has vertigo, benign positional vertigo, but the earwax obviously is making that wrong. And we all know how good we feel after that happens when you have your earwax evacuated. So that's tomorrow morning, 9:30. Then the pulmonologist on Monday. In between dialysis today, dialysis Saturday. And I hope everybody enjoys the Super Bowl. If you're going to watch, try to take some time for yourself. Everybody's telling me you got to take care of yourself, Brian. Otherwise, you can't take care of Karen. I know that. Unfortunately, my want to take care of others is greater than the want to take care of myself. But I have to achieve a balance. I'll never be perfect at it. None of us will be. But we have to remind ourselves of it, and we got to work on it, right? I care about you all, even if I don't know you. Believe me, I empathize with you. I have a heart bigger than the Grand Canyon, I assure you, and I'm thinking of you all. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and God bless, and take care of each other. Be kind to each other. Try to understand each other. Even though there are a lot of idiots in this world that are not impossible to understand, we know that. You know what I mean. For the most part, and laugh once in a while. All right, I like to joke around, and I have a pretty damn good sense of humor. You haven't seen it yet, but you will. Okay, guys, everybody take care of yourselves. Okay, God bless. Bye bye.